Yo, what's good? Big Z here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how I made my new single that's out now called Lonely. First of all, congrats to the mix and master winner from last video. For this week, we're going to do something a little bit different. So instead of just commenting below, you have to send me a screenshot on Instagram of you listening to this new song, Lonely. So whatever you use, Spotify, Apple Music, just send me a screenshot in my Instagram DMs, and I'll pick one person next week to win a free mix and master for myself. Anyway, let's get into how I made it. Here's a preview of what the track sounds like.
It's such a crazy notion, no. Now I'm not lonely, lonely. I don't feel so lonely, lonely. Wish I could show the old me things will change. This ain't the only life. Now I'm not.
So here's the project that I made the track in. I actually did the final mix in a separate project, which I'm going to do a full mixing masterclass on starting next week. So be on the lookout for that. But this is the project that I wrote and produced the track in. So I started this song with the chords, which is how I start a lot of songs. So I think I started with these chords right here just to start the songwriting and lay down the framework for the rest of the track. So that chord sound is from Serum, and I believe it's just straight from, it's straight from my Big Z's Sounds of 2020 preset pack, which you can get below if you're interested, but it's just a preset called Smooth. So there's some nice smooth sounding break chords. So after I had the chords down, I wanted to figure out what the drop was gonna sound like, and I wanted to be kind of like funky and unique sounding, so I added a guitar to the drop. So this is the first thing I really added, was this guitar sound. That guitar is playing the same chords as the break synth, but it's just in a faster paced rhythm. And that's actually not the guitar back there on my wall that you're hearing. It's actually a guitar on the computer that I programmed in, and I'll show you how I did that. So if I unhide some of these tracks, we should be able to find the guitar right here. So there's this contact instrument called Scarby Funk Guitarist that I bought recently, even though I think it's like 10 years old. But you can program in your own guitar chords and rhythms into here, and it's a pretty good sounding guitar. So I programmed in the chords, and I made a custom rhythm for it. So that's how it sounded after I programmed in those chords and that groove into the plugin, and then I bounced that into an audio file just so it'd be easier to work with. So then here's the audio file that I bounced it into right here. I just cut off some extra notes and chords that I didn't really need, and I'll show you all the processing I've done here. So before the processing, after the processing. So I think the processing really adds a lot of life to this guitar. So I started out with a compressor right here, adding a few dBs of compression here. Then after that, I ran it through this stock Logic amp plugin, and I just cycled through the presets until I found one I liked, and I probably tweaked it a little bit, but the amp just adds a little bit of grittiness to it. So I feel like that amp plugin is doing a lot of the work here. And then after that, I'm gonna have some EQ, just cutting off the low end to make room for the bass. Then I have some really short delay that you can probably not even hear in the mix. It's a 16th note delay. With the mix really low, just to put the guitar in a little space, so it adds a nice slap delay characteristic to the guitar. So after that, I have this Valhalla Vintage Verb on there. It's a really short reverb, and it just puts the guitar in another little space. And that mix is only at 10%. And then I have this pedal board plugin where I'm adding some phaser. So that's everything I use to make the guitar sit in the mix a little bit better. So once I got that guitar down, I needed a bass line beneath it, and that is where these bass sounds come in. And I wanted the bass line and the guitar rhythm to kind of bounce off of each other. So let's get into these bass layers here. So first of all, there's the main bass sound, which is from Serum, and this is actually from my preset pack, Big Z's Sounds of 2020. It is called Trampoline. It's a really cool sound. And the only processing I'm really adding to this sound is just an EQ, making sure everything below 150 Hertz is mono. I guess I've dipped some frequencies around 1000 Hertz. So then layered with that, I have this FM sounding bass. And only the high end of that sound is coming through, like everything above 300 Hertz. And that sound is also from Serum, and it's from the Oliver Power Tools sample pack. I think it's on Splice, but I just use like the top end of that sound to add some grittiness to the main bass. Then I wanted to blend in a more real sounding bass, so I have this Nexus bass called Pick Bass 1 from the Guitars expansion pack. So I'm cutting off everything below 300 Hertz for that too. I just really wanted the attack sound from that real bass sample. And then I have these little bass reverses in between to make it a little more exciting. So the first half of the drop is really simple. It's just that guitar playing, those bass layers playing, the kick, the snare, and the vocals.
No, I'm not lonely, lonely. I don't feel so lonely, lonely. Wish I could show the old me things will change. This ain't the only life. No, I'm not lonely. I don't feel so lonely.
And this sounds a little empty compared to the final mix, just because I worked on spicing it up more in the final mix, but all the main parts are here. So this vocal chop in the second drop that comes in, I didn't actually just sample the vocal on my keyboard, I actually just sliced up the audio file down here.
I don't feel so lonely. I don't feel so lonely.
So that's just me chopping up the audio file and seeing what kind of different rhythms I can make with the notes from the vocal. Processing on these vocal chops, I have this Infected Mushroom Manipulator plugin, and it's moving the formant up and down using this sequencer down here. I'll increase the effect. So you can hear it's moving the formant of the vocal up and down over time. So I just had that at about like 12%. And then after that, I have a de-esser just to get rid of any harsh S sounds. I have this Waves R compressor. Then I have FabFilter Saturn adding some saturation and brightening up the high end a little bit. Then I have this EQ on here.
I don't feel so lonely.
And then I guess I wanted to widen it up a little bit, so I added this Ozone Imager. Then I have some plate reverb on here, this vocal plate setting from Valhalla Vintage Verb. It's in the plate section. And then I just have some external reverb and delay, which I actually changed in the mix. So the whole point of those vocal chops was to kind of go in time with the guitar rhythm.
I don't feel so lonely.
And to kind of thicken it up a little bit, I added this pluck playing the same rhythm. And this is another sound from my Serum preset pack. It's just adding another layer to those guitar chords. Then I'm also adding in this arpeggio sound. It looks like I bounced that to audio, so I'm not sure exactly how I made it. Oh, it's 3 different layers here. So here are the different layers in that arpeggio. So I just made that to fill up the background a little bit and add some more rhythm and movement to the drop. Then I have these straight Rhodes chords down here. From a Nexus preset that I like. It's like a nice smooth Rhodes piano. And then obviously to pick up the drum energy, I've added in some more drums up here. So that's pretty much everything there is to the drop. Now I'll talk about the verses real quick. So the verses, like I said before, the backdrop of them are these smooth chords. Then to add some more energy on top of that, I've added this break bass sound. I guess this is another sound from my Sounds of 2020 sample pack. I guess when I was making this song, I pretty much only used sounds from that preset pack. But anyway, that just adds some nice edginess to the verse. Then I have these atmosphere layers just filling up the background. So those fill out the space nicely. And then I have the drums just keeping the rhythm. And then you'll notice for the transitions, I barely use any effects at all in the song. I think there's like 2 effects in the whole song, which is really rare. But I wanted to use automation and the synths and songwriting to fill the gaps instead of a bunch of sweeps everywhere. Like in this transition right here, you'll hear the automation of the cutoff really opening up on the bass and the chords to fill the gap.
Now I'm lost. I used to be so lonely. Now you're the one who holds me.
So you can see the automation layers I added down here. There's a few different things I automated, but the point is it just increases the energy going into that next section.
Now I'm lost. I used to be so lonely. Now you're the one who holds me.
Then the buildup is really all elements from the drop just filtered. So like the bass, for example, it's filtered with this low pass filter. And it's also cutting out the very low end with this high pass filter. You don't want all the bass frequencies coming through on your buildup because then your drop will have no impact. Then I did the same thing with the guitar down here. So everything's being filtered, just introducing the drop elements and bring that energy up for the drop to hit. Then the rest of the track is really just variations on all the main things that I already showed you, but definitely go check out the track on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever you use. The link is down below if you want to check it out. Like I said, if you want to win a free mix and master for myself, just Instagram DM me a screenshot of you listening to the track. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.